If you're struggling to speak up your mind and tell people that maybe what they said or how they acted towards you hurt you, like this video might be for you. I am an introvert, and most people don't know that. Why? Because I'm in content creation. I work with creators, I put myself on the internet, and when you feel like you're living in a semi glass house, because I'm very still careful about what I put online, it starts to get to a point where you're like so careful what you bring up to people. You don't want to get canceled. You don't want to what da 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 da. You want to be liked by people, and that's I think one of the reasons why I started to be silenced. And I was watching this David Goggins video about how like weak people want to silence you. And I let myself get silenced because whenever I felt like I was just speaking up about my beliefs and where I stand, it felt like there were haters no matter what I shared. It's like, if you, no matter what you do, there will always be people who disagree with you, no matter what. And I think that's why, for me, some of the pillars that I never talk about are just religion, politics, and relationships. I just choose not to talk about that in details online because, not because I'm shy about my beliefs, but because I know that there are people online who are just not self aware or open enough to accept other people's differences. But then what I'm starting to realize is the more I silence myself, the more I started to lose myself, and the more I started to kind of conform myself like a chameleon. You know, like chameleons are naturally green creatures. And then if they get close to, I don't know, this blanket, they start to turn gray, and when they start to climb on this cup they start to turn dark green or whatever. So like whatever color that they climb on, they start to adapt to that color. And there's nothing wrong with being a chameleon because in a way it can work as empathy. There's a book called Four Idiots. I'm great at butchering names and book names, but there's a book called Surrounded by Idiots where the book is basically saying there are four types of people. And it's such high emotional intelligence if you're able to talk to them based on what color that you think they are, right? But then to a certain extent, because if you start to conform yourself and you become this mix of different colors instead of knowing who exactly you are and adapting other people's differences, you start to turn into this poop color. Because if you like, have you ever mixed all kinds of different colors before when you're a kid, like whether it's clay or paint? You try to create new colors, but to at one point, if you mix all the colors together, it will always be a poopy color. It's never like an attractive color unless you're into a poopy color. But my point is, you still have to know who you are and be able to adapt to what other colors are around you. So other people's colors and how they communicate and their beliefs, etc. So my point is, today, every morning I tell myself, do something that's uncomfortable. And it's shitty. Like, I hate it, right? It never gets easier. Your face just gets thicker, that it is less scary, but it never gets easier. So today, I on a team call, I told my team, like, hey, when you communicated with someone, instead of directly telling me, you went to the team member and shared this thing. I felt like I felt this feeling of almost betrayal, and it felt like you went around my back when you could have told me that face to face. That was so uncomfortable to share because of my fear of, what if this person hates me? What if people don't want to talk to me because I'm aggressive or whatever? So all those feelings were starting to pile up. But the funny thing is, because I started to practice little by little of speaking up and saying, hey, when you did this, it hurt me, because of those little reps, I was able to just say it. Could I have said it in a more peaceful, non-aggressive way? Absolutely, yes. I'm working on that. Because when I get fired up, I'm an Aries. I'm like the epitome of competitive Aries. So I got a little aggressive, and it started to feel like I was cornering the person and almost confronting the person. So that's something I'm still working on. But because I was able to open up about how I honestly felt, there was no resentment left in my heart. And usually, when it comes to business, relationships, friendships, whatever it is, if you don't openly share what's in your heart, and there's even like a tiny little speck of dust in your heart that you pile up, it starts to grow really fast, like an avalanche. Like this tiny little rock that rolls down a snowy mountain can suddenly turn into this big ball of snowball, and then the bigger it gets, the larger the consequences. That can happen the same in our heart. So because I know that, because I almost lost so many valuable friendships since I refused to speak up due to my fear, I found out that it's almost counterintuitive. If you love the person, if you care about the friendship, you have those uncomfortable conversations more. Now, if I don't really see the value in the relationship I have with this certain person, I don't waste my time confronting them, because I know that they're not going to continue being in my life, or it's just a purely, like, I don't know, transactional or once kind of a interaction that I'll have. But with the people in my life who I really care about, whether it's friends, families, team members, relationship, I make sure to have that conversation right away, knowing how quickly a tiny speck of dust can turn into a fucking avalanche and just destroy everything that we built ever together. So that's what I practice today, and something that I want to encourage you to do if you're similar to me is, I know it's uncomfortable, I know it's scary, but I want you to understand the other person's perspective. If that person also cares and loves you to the same extent, and they're mature, they're going to appreciate the fact that you tell them the truth, instead of you waiting and saying everything is fine, and then 8 months later coming back saying, like, you know what, I hated it when you did this and that. At that point, that person's not even gonna remember what happened, and that's gonna hurt you even more, saying, wow, this was such a big deal to me and you don't even remember. It will happen like that, guaranteed, because I've been like that for years. So if you don't want to be the passive aggressive petty person that I have always been, I highly recommend that you start little. When someone says something that really hurts you, you don't have to turn it into a big deal. You can just, even if it's not right away, reach out to that person and say, like, hey, I think you meant it as a joke, but like when you said that to me in front of other people, like, it really hurt me. And that's going to really show that person's character. If that person really cares about you, most likely their response is going to be, oh my God, I didn't mean it that way. I'm so sorry. I'll be more careful next time. If the person is actually a bully, or they don't give a damn about how you feel, it's most likely going to be like, oh my God, like, what's the big deal? You know, I was just joking. Like, lighten up. You're so sensitive. I don't want you to ever take that as, oh, maybe I am sensitive. Nope. If it hurt you, it hurt you. You have the rights. You have a conviction to yourself and self-love, self-protection to be able to speak up about that. If the other person treats it like it's not a big deal, that means that person isn't willing to see it from your perspective. So I want you to take it as, you know what? Maybe you don't care about my feelings as much. And that's when I start to put a little bit of a distance, because I'm at the stage of life where I'm not going to invest time and love into a relationship that isn't worth my continued time and effort spent into it. That might sound transactional. Sure, if you think it's transactional, see it that way. For me, I just don't have enough time in my life and effort in my life to waste my energy growing relationships that I know has more harm than benefits. And the benefits doesn't even have to be like financial benefits or what they can do for you. It's like if you really connect with the person and they're valuable to you and you love them and they love you, that's worth investing in. And the older I get, the more I realize, the more I care about the person, the more I start to have these tiny uncomfortable conversations. Yeah. So that's my takeaway for today. I'm really proud of myself. This might be easy for some of you, but for me this is such a huge lesson that I had to practice over and over to be better at. So I just want to let you know that you're not alone if you resonate with what I'm sharing, and it is a skill. Like social skills is called a skill because it's learnable. And even if you're a socially awkward only child who works from home full time and the only time you go out of your house is to get to the gym, that's me, it's learnable. And I wanted to share this even though it's kind of embarrassing. Okay, well, that's it. Bye.